Hi, so this is part 2 of Dad's story. So we've already talked about the diagnosis and the fact he had to have his eye removed. After he had his eye removed, the doctors did a biopsy and told Dad that it was quite an aggressive form of cancer and there was a chance that it would spread if it wasn't caught quick enough. And if it did appear again in his body, it would appear in his liver. And they agreed that they would do some more testing and scanning at a later date. Dad felt really emotional and upset about this because he'd already experienced lots of delays and it was playing on his mind that the cancer could actually be in his liver now. So it was decided that we would book a private hospital to do some scanning, and that hospital was at St Helens. Before we attended that appointment, we let them know that he was a deaf sign language user and that I would be in attendance with him to provide communication support if needed. And we felt like it was really pertinent that he needed the appointment now and didn't want to wait and have any more delays waiting for interpreters because of his mental health. And we were already prepared to do that because we were already doing that anyway. So we attended the appointment. There was no interpreter there, but they also said that I was not allowed to interpret for my dad because they had a policy that said family members weren't allowed to interpret. We said, great, this is your policy. It's good practice, but where's the interpreter? We let you know before the appointment. You had time to make sure there was an interpreter there. And they said no, and they reinforced that I was not allowed to interpret. Dad did the scan, but the appointment didn't go well. He came out, he was really emotional and upset, and we submitted a complaint about that. They didn't uphold the complaint, stating that their staff felt that it went well. And our response was, well, if the deaf patient is saying not, how can you say it did? Their response again was it was not their policy to use family members to interpret. We said, this is great. It's great that you have this policy, but if it's important that the appointment should be done in timely manner, and the family have pre-agreed that a family member could be used to interpret, that this should be accepted because the deaf person said it's fine. We didn't get anywhere with that, so we just gave up on that complaint. Not long after, DVLA contacted Dad to say he must go for an eye test for his medical driving licence. So there was no way of contacting them for a deaf person, so I had to phone again and I asked if they would provide a sign language interpreter for this, and they said it wasn't their responsibility. We said it is. If you're mandating that you should go for an eye test, you must provide. They said no. So we rang Specsavers, who were the people who we were mandated to go to for the sight test. Again, we explained that it needed an independent interpreter because there was a risk that a family member could give the deaf person the answers, and they agreed with us, but then said, oh no, it's not our responsibility to provide interpreters. So again, I had to go with him and interpret. After that, lots more things did happen. Unfortunately, it was found that the cancer had returned in his liver and he was terminal, and we needed to prepare for things. We had to prepare for death. So financial things like pensions and so on. When you tried to sort anything out, it was so difficult. There were so many barriers because there weren't access to interpreters. We wanted to do a power of attorney, which meant the family could make decisions or sort out things if Dad's health deteriorated. And again, it was a really difficult process because solicitors often won't pay for interpreters. Financial advisors often won't pay for interpreters. So again, there was constant battles, and deaf people really do suffer inequalities in life in general. People need to understand it's not only in healthcare, but across the board, across all public services. We need IAS to be implemented there so deaf people have access. Shortly before Dad passed away, he went to Specsavers, our local Specsavers. He just wanted a new pair of glasses, just a new prescription for his remaining eye. He was told no again, they wouldn't provide sign language interpreters. We issued a complaint and their response was that he should lip read or write things down. We just gave up again. It was just another battle, and it was so ironic because Specsavers have a contract with our local hospital, Arrow Park, to provide audiology services. It's just crazy. It's just mind-blowing. Before Dad passed away, Dad got really poorly and he was admitted to hospital, again, Arrow Park. When we were there, we contacted DA Languages via email and said, Dad's here, can you provide an interpreter? Their answer was no, so we asked them why. They said it must be the Hunter Hospital that made contact with DA Languages, and we said, yeah, but the hospital are really busy. You could see they were really short-staffed. Please, can you make contact with them? Again, we're told no, so we ask why, and they stated it's within our contract that we're not allowed to make contact with the hospital. I was really suspicious about this, and then they asked me to teach staff how to book a sign language interpreter. I said, this is not appropriate. My father is dying. It's not appropriate to ask me to teach staff how to book a sign language interpreter. Please, can you contact the hospital? But again, they said no, and we just gave up. And we submitted a complaint to Ara Park about that recently. We've had meetings with them, and we've asked them, is this true? Is it in your contract that they're not allowed to contact the hospital? And they told us that's incorrect. So we've asked, why are they saying that? And also, if you think back, years ago, we complained about this. And we said that DA Languages were not accepting bookings for patients and claiming that they could not contact the hospital. If you dealt with it properly then, you could have prevented all these issues from happening. So this is an ongoing thing with our local hospital, and I'm willing to work with them for them to improve. Sadly, Dad passed away November last year, and it just feels like everything leading up to his death was a battle, and people need to understand how much of a battle deaf people face in healthcare, but also across all public services. When a deaf person has a problem, like terminal illness, and they need to get access quickly, it's a real difficulty because there's a dependency there on family members to interpret. And we're not saying a dependency from the deaf person. It's not their fault. They need things to happen, and they need things to happen quick. But public services like healthcare are not given access to deaf people in their first language. And AIS needs to happen across the public sector, but also staff members need to be trained about deaf people's rights to access. We also feel like contracting is not given to the right providers, and the cheapest providers are being selected. So this is something that needs to happen. So watch us for more updates as we campaign. Thank you for watching this video. Goodbye.